Yes. Welcome back. Yo, this is The Grapevine, and I'm your host, Manon Sabir. That's right. We're going to pick some grapes. We're going to pick a lot of grapes today because it's time. It's that time to pick those grapes on The Grapevine and the award-winning Truth 1017. I'm your host, Manon Sabir. And great afternoon. Matter of fact, fantabulous afternoon. You're on The Grapevine. I'm your host. And we're going to get ready to dive into another exciting afternoon. Meaningful conversations, community voices, and stories that deserve to be heard. Milwaukee. Whether you're on the road, whether you're at work, or just tuning in, thank you for spending part of your day with us. With us, with me, with the rest of our community. Let's get into it. This is The Grapevine 1017. Milwaukee, a 9-year-old girl was killed last week sleeping in her own bed, and nobody's been arrested. The world feels like it's one bad week from catching fire. Everybody's got an opinion, but today, every guest in the studio has a solution. First, we have two law folks from Roanoke, Virginia. Shout out to Roanoke, bringing the Ignite program to Milwaukee to reach our young people before the streets do. Then we have the Omde Muslim community, been on the north side since 1968, maybe even longer. They believe in something that'll stop you in your tracks. I like the fact that we're not afraid. We're not afraid for things to stop in our tracks. What's up, Milwaukee? We have something good for y'all. We have something good for y'all. It's a solution. We have a number of people that are willing to take that ride with us, to ride down that pathway, that journey of trying to understand how we can solve the mysteries within our community. You're going to be on The Grapevine with me, with the community. We're going to look for calls, text messages, and also we're going to let you light up our chat line from the YouTube channel. So welcome back and thank you to Ray and Shannon. Thank you. I really appreciate the lunch break. Fantastic. So let's get into it, y'all. We got our folks on the line, Zach. Okay, I really appreciate it. 1 second. How you guys doing today? We have Sheriff Antonio Hash. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. And yourself?
From Roanoke, Virginia. And we also have Deputy Danita Scott. How are you doing?
She on the line as well. We on two different phones.
Okay.
So we're trying to hard to connect both of them at the same time. So she's standing right here next to me.
Okay.
But it was difficult. So but she is on the call.
Hey, look, we're gonna work through. We're gonna work through these.
We're trying to make it work.
Hey, listen, that's what we do. We're gonna make it work. And have her come on in. It's fine. It's fine. We're gonna make it happen. I wanted to also thank you for coming online. I want to make sure that even right now that we are kind of getting past the technical pieces, though. Thank you so much for that and being patient with us. Sheriff Hash, you guys hear me? Okay. No worries. So once we get past these, we got a few technical difficulties. I think we got some folks that have logged out, but we will get them back online. But I wanted to talk to our community about the Ignite program. Hopefully we can get them back online. But I wanted to talk to the community about the Ignite program. We here? Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right, we back. Hey, look, family will work it out, baby.
Man.
Hey, we will work it out.
Listen, we're in the middle of the airport,
Yeah.
but we wanted to make sure that we was able to come on and connect with you all. And so we apologize for the technology issues, but we wanted to still come on and support and have this conversation. So we appreciate it.
Antonio, don't worry about it. Don't we
Yes,
are
sir.
we are all family. This is what we're gonna do. We just gonna work it
Yes,
out.
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So
Yes, sir.
no worries. And thank you so much for being online with us. But I want to welcome you guys to the Grapevine. This is a great honor to have you on, and I appreciate you for joining us. Before we dive into Ignite, tell our listeners a little bit about yourselves and your work in Roanoke. Shout out to
Yeah,
Roanoke
man.
again.
So Roanoke, Virginia, on the map.
Yeah.
So just want to give you all a brief update. My name is Antonio Hash. I'm the sheriff of Roanoke City. I've been the sheriff for 5 years now, but been a part of the agency for 18 years. I'm born and raised in the heart of the city.
Yeah.
And so my passion is law enforcement. My passion is the correction side of it as well, making sure that we put people back into our communities better than the way we found them.
Yeah.
And so I'm passionate about it, and I'm just appreciative of the platforms that's been given to me as the sheriff since I took the oath of office to stand and protect our community.
Yeah, just real quick, I wanted a side note. I wanted to find out how far is Roanoke from Richmond?
So it's about 3 hours.
Okay,
3 hours
all right,
from
cool.
Richmond.
3 hours.
On a
Roanoke
good,
is 3 hours
on
west.
a good day. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. Near the West Virginia border, maybe.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Cool. And what is Ignite? For those hearing about it
So
for the first time, what is the Ignite program, and what inspired its creation under the National Sheriff's Association?
So Ignite stands for individuals. They used to say inmates, but we thought about we're transitioning the mindset of people. So why keep calling them inmates, right?
Right.
So we change it to individuals growing naturally and intentionally through education.
Right.
Because what we found out is that majority of people in population, especially in custody and jails across the U.S., the things that separate them from being successful is pretty much the education platform of it.
Right.
And so we launched it. We launched Ignite. Ignite was launched in Genesee County in Flint, Michigan,
Yeah.
under Sheriff Christopher Swanson.
Mm-hmm.
And then the national sheriffs got wind of it. You know, it's always funding is what's needed. And so
Yeah.
they got wind of the platform. And so once they got wind of it, they took it to another level and end up allowing the platform to be expanded. And now the program is in 38 counties in 17 states across the U.S.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yes, sir.
Why does this matter? And why do you believe Milwaukee is an important city for this initiative? And what opportunities do you see here in Milwaukee, of all places?
Yeah, absolutely. So because you got great leadership here, your sheriff said, listen, I believe in my county as well. I believe in the people that's connected to my county. And as a man thinketh, so is he. If the mindset never changes, then they always consistently keep doing the same thing. So her mindset was, listen, the people who come into our custody at the county sheriff's office, they deserve the opportunity as well to go back into their communities, to thrive and to be successful. As you all know, your debt to society is doing your time. If you do the crime, you do the time. But
Yeah.
still, us as law enforcement personnel, we still have a responsibility of rehabilitating and reforming people so that when they get back into our communities are safe. And I ask people all the time, you know, how do you want me to return your neighbor back to you? Broken the way we found them, or rehabilitated, reformed, so that way they can be thriving people in our communities? Because you can't have it the best of both worlds.
Right.
Even you're gonna help us, you're gonna let us help them and get them back on the right path.
Right.
Or we'll constantly have a system that's a revolving door. And so I think at this point in Milwaukee, they stepped up to the challenge. The sheriff heard the call. She heard the conversations inside her facility, and she looked us up and she said, you know what, I want this in my county. And so we came here today to launch Ignite in her facility, and just to hear the momentum, see the momentum here, the different people, the stakeholders, the supervisors, those community partners who said, listen, let's make this happen for our locality as well, man. It's a blessing to see it happen today.
Man, that's amazing. What makes Ignite different? So like there are many youth programs available today,
Yeah.
and but what makes Ignite actually stand out? Uh,
See what?
yeah,
Yes, sir. So what happens is typically our program um, is dealt with them when they come into custody. We try to go have those community engagement projects where the sheriff's office go into the community and help people in the community before they get to our facility, right?
right,
But once they get into our facility, you know, now we have to sit them down for 6 months, 12 months, a year, 2 years while they do time. And so typically, we don't deal with the youth because this is the adults that we deal
right.
with this program. And so we try to get them, we try to get them before they come in, which we create opportunities with community partners to tackle some of those issues. But if they come into custody for whatever they choose, whatever they do, whatever crime, once they get their time, we start focusing on them returning back home to their community in a better place. And so that's what our focus is.
Man, that's really not that's one of the that's really unique. That's really unique. Wow. And Milwaukee has it right here.
Yeah, so we launched it today.
Yeah,
The sheriff said, look, so we people flew in all over the country. We got great partnership with Verizon Frontline,
yeah,
Securus Technology. And so what they said, listen, sheriffs, we hear your ask. And so what they decided to do was to pour into this program. And so what they do is they allow sheriffs like my facility to come in and partner with that particular sheriff to come in and support her. How do we get this off the ground in your facilities? What do you need? What classes do you want to teach? Is it financial literacy? Is it reading? Is it their GED? Is it starting a business while you're there? As a man thinketh, so is he. Their mindset don't change. Then
yeah.
they constantly sitting doing time. They become institutionalized, and that's fine for some people who don't want change in their community. But I'm tired of people coming to us after the fact saying, "What you gonna do to help them?" Now that we got them in custody for 6 months to a year, why can't we help them there? You right?
It
We
seems
work
like
with them on the outside, but yeah.
yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, keep going.
So we work with them on the outside before they come in with some of our partnerships. But unfortunately, some of them, they still haven't learned their lessons. And so while they're sitting down for their time period that the judges give them, we just choose to rehabilitate and restore people. And you know as well as I know, mental health plays a big part in a lot of it, right?
Right.
Your upbringing, your stabilization. So a lot of these things, childhood drama and trauma, right, got them
I
locked
just used
up.
those
And
two
so
words yesterday.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
And so relationships, whatever, something got you in custody. So we sit down, we dissect it, we go through the pieces, trying to figure out where they are. And then our team puts together a plan to support them so that way we can make sure that we categorize or put a plan in place to support the individual, not just throwing them into all these programs just to help them. So we hear anything dealing with mental health, or you don't have no financial stability, or you had a business on the outside but it failed.
Right.
What can we do to support your business so your business can now thrive on the outside? These are the funding resources that we came up with to support you. There was a federal grant that's out there called Pathway to Home. They
Mm.
gave $3 million to sheriff's offices who were doing the right thing by restoring people before they go back into the communities. And a lot of this is not even money out of taxpayers' pockets, but
Mm.
it's federal funding that's given to our facilities to do.
Hey, the signal is froze. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a Sheriff Hash.
Here's the deal. We gotta set ourselves up. See, retirement is the long game. We gotta make moves and make them early. Set up goals. Don't worry about a setback. Just save up and stack up to reach them. Let's put ourselves in the right position. Pre-game to greater things.
Start building your retirement plan at thisispretirement.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Yes. Love that. Welcome back to the Grapevine. I'm your host, Manon Sabir, and we have two of our finest from Roanoke, Virginia, introducing the Ignite program to the Milwaukee community through our sheriff's office. We have Sheriff Antonio Hash and also Deputy Danita Scott. They're in transit, and so we're going to make sure that we give them the good love and the good light while they're in transit. I like Roanoke, though. Roanoke is a cool little community. So, Sheriff Hash, building trust. It's a major focus of Ignite, and Ignite is strengthening relationships between youth and law enforcement. What are some of the ways the program helps build trust and also understanding?
Yeah, so what you got to realize, everybody in law enforcement are not bad individuals, right? And so what we try to do is build that bridge between all of our community. So that way, I tell my staff all the time, I say, listen, you be present for them in the good times. So when they need you, they can be in the position where they can come and talk to you. They can reach out to you. They can ask questions. But you can't walk into a community expecting to get results if you standoffish, if you won't speak, if you won't even show up and be present until something bad happens. We put boots on the ground every day. We go in the neighborhoods. We go to the basketball courts. We just did an open pool day in the city. Someone went swimming with the kids, right?
Oh, wow.
Because you have to be present with your community so that your community can be present for you. And so partnership is everything in our city. And I encourage everybody in law enforcement, find a way to get creative to get resources back into your community. We got National Hot Dog Day coming up this Wednesday on tomorrow. And so we in neighborhoods tomorrow, feeding families, all day tomorrow, because we believe in making sure we take care of our community at large.
You seem really invested. Are you originally from the Roanoke? You and your colleague, are you both from the Roanoke area?
Yeah, so we are. So we both from Roanoke City, born and raised, got a heart for the city. We just appreciate our city allowing us to pour back into them. It hasn't always been that way, right? But we have taken some classes about community policing. And with community policing, it talks about going back into your community and being present, being vocal when you need to, speak up when you need to. We wrong, correct bad behavior. But when we right, stand 10 toes down. And so I think it creates a balance in our community with everybody so that way they feel like they can trust us. Transparency is the key. Be transparent about everything that we do. And then we make a mistake, we're clear to say we made a mistake, because one, we're trying to always build that community trust, and community trust is important.
And so, and remember, these questions are for both of y'all. So I'll probably just,
Right. So she on as well.
I'm gonna shoot them out. You go, hey, feel free
Yes,
to
sir.
just come right in. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
So, Danita, what lessons it's in terms of Roanoke, right? What lessons, based upon your experience and your growing up in Roanoke, what lessons or success stories do you hope to bring to Milwaukee through this particular partnership?
So success stories. A lot of times, the success stories are those individuals who get out of custody and say, "Sheriff, thank you for giving us hope again." Right?
Right.
We had a graduation the other day. A guy through the program got his GED. Right?
Yeah.
Here it is. He's been locked up in and out of in custody for years. We offered GED in our building. He graduated with his GED. We took a picture right in the facility, and I drove that certificate and the picture to his kid's home, knocked on the door, asked for his kids, and gave his kids the picture with him and his diploma and his cap and gown, right? Because
Yes.
if your kids see you be successful, you didn't quit, you didn't give up, and you persevered even while you was locked up,
Yes.
you could have checked there and did the time, but you didn't just do the time. You allowed yourself to get back in position. So now that your kids can see that you're trying to make something better out of yourself. And so it was a blessing to share those success stories. A just man falleth 7 times, but if he falls and he stay there, but if he get back up, he can succeed and go on to the next day. No matter where you at in your life, you still got opportunity if you embrace it.
That's right. That's so true, man. Oh man, you just gave
Yes,
me some
sir.
chills. So what role do parents, schools, faith organizations, mentee organizations, and community leaders play in making Ignite successful?
But one, what makes it successful is keep your kids out of our building. Let me say that first. Keep
I
them
was
out of our
about to I
building.
was about
That's
to
what makes it
slam my hands
successful.
down like, come on,
Right.
God.
Listen, come on, pour back into your kids now before they have to get into my
Yeah.
building. Have those hard conversations. A lot of times they don't want to have those conversations because they're afraid. They're afraid of I'm my kid's best friend, but I'm not my kid's best friend. I'm my kid's parent, right? And
Right.
I get that parents want to have those relationships with their kids, but
Yes.
if you don't keep those relationships solid when it comes down to your parents and with your kids will run over you. And what we found out, even when their kids come into custody,
Yeah.
they still trying to control us inside of our building. My child, my child, my child.
Right.
And I have to tell them sometimes, once your kid come into custody, this my child stuff is out the window because now your child is a grown man or grown woman. So if you want to
Mm,
pour into your child, pour into them before they get locked up. And I'm not saying they can't have a conversation with their kids because they can. Everybody has access to the free world. But when they was a child, they spake as a child. But when they got older, they put away childish things. At some point, your child has to put away childish things and be an adult so they can thrive in this community. But if they can't do those things while they on punishment or timeout, my program in my building begins to work with them. Mental health opportunities, financial literacy, reading, construction.
right.
We do Serve Safe. We do Serve Pro. We do
Yeah.
Serve 10. I mean,
Yep.
we do so much in the building, man, where we are helping them get opportunity if they want it. And if they don't, then that's why we always in business, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Whew. And that's deep too. Real quick, because I want to get one more question
Yes,
in,
sir.
and then
Yes,
get
sir.
your both of your last remarks. So, as the program launches in Milwaukee, what are the
Yes, sir.
first steps, and what can the community expect over the next several months?
So let me just say, I commend Sheriff Ball and her team there in
Yes.
Milwaukee for having a heart to want to pour back into people.
Right.
Some people call me a hugger thug sheriff in Roanoke City. I'm not a hugger thug sheriff. I just got a heart for mankind, right?
Right.
And so I just appreciate her having a heart for her people in Milwaukee, wanting to see people do better,
Mm-hmm.
and having a heart for returning them back into our community. And so over the next couple of months, what you're going to see is them reaching out to our community or your community, trying to expand partnership. Who is that? Barbers, stylists, people that do carpentry work. They want to teach a trade. Those
Right.
who work in the restaurant business, they want to help teach a trade in the building. We had somebody that talked about CPR today, teaching CPR inside the pods. Why is that important? Because
Mm,
anybody can go into a medical crisis. And so if you're not prepared to teach or prepared to save a life, that person can lose their life. So it's necessary, even in corrections, to be able to teach them how to save somebody's life. And so again, they're revamping their program. She has some amazing programs in her building,
mm-hmm.
but what she's doing is she's bringing all programs and her new programs up under Ignite, so that way she can expand it on the national platform and then go after those national resources that's available through these bigger grants.
If you could leave Milwaukee with one message about the Ignite program,
Yes, sir.
and this new partnership with Sheriff Danita Ball, what would it be?
And let me just say, just because it's bent doesn't mean it's broken, right? You got some people in there that has been bent because of life situations, because of circumstances, childhood drama and trauma, right?
Right.
But just because you see them in a bent stage doesn't mean that it's broken. What we have a responsibility to do as a community is to raise people back up again, right?
Right.
And so again, challenging those individuals to get back on their feet, get some sustainability, and to become thriving citizens in the Milwaukee community so that they're better for their people. Because if they're thriving, what those thriving people do is pour back into their community as taxpayers, right?
Right.
They get back into their community. And so that's what we want to see. And so today I leave with you all. Get connected to the sheriff, right? She has a heart for people. She has a heart for the community.
That's right.
And she has an open mind to learn, right? And so if you got a new idea, new perspective, something that she can engage and move her organization further, she is in position to support it. But she needs people like you in our community or your community who has a heart to want to see reform and then some type of meritocracy for those individuals in custody so they can have something to look forward to as they begin to transition back into our communities, back into a safer community because they're rehabilitated and reformed and they're in a better place to thrive.
Hey, y'all. We got a saying on here called you just pick the grapes. You just picked the grapes, you ate them,
Yes,
you picked
sir.
them off the grapevine, you ate the grapes, you stomped on the grapes, y'all made some wine. I
Yes.
mean, you did it all. Sheriff Hash, Deputy Scott, you guys have a safe trip back to Roanoke. When I get back through Roanoke, I'm gonna make sure I look you guys up for real. I'm coming to
Man,
where
pull up on us.
Hey, look, I'm coming there with a 6-year-old in the back seat, so don't worry.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
rolling.
Yes, sir.
So this what a
We
solution looks.
appreciate y'all.
Hey, yeah, we appreciate you too. And this is what a solution looks like, Milwaukee. Now, take a deep breath from the Bible Carter Mosque on the north side since 1968. We got the Omde Muslim community, love for all, hatred for none. I promise you guys we're going to be back in 2. You guys have a safe trip. Love to you. We'll be back in 2. Thank you.
Talking about guns with others might not always feel comfortable, but it could save a life. Here's a way to start a conversation. Your family is going over to your neighbor's home for dinner for the first time. How would you...
And the green with the key city. Abracadabra, a la baby professor. All hail funkin' lesson. Sweet tongue grand writer of scrolls. Now behold, let the legend unfold.
Welcome back to the Grapevine. I'm your host, Manon Sabir, on 101.7 The Truth, the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. And we have, one of the oldest Muslim communities in this city. They believe in the living caliph. They believe in something that will kind of stop you dead in your tracks. That Jesus never died on the cross, and I think they can say they can prove it. So this one whole show is one question, and I want you guys to keep score at home. Is there a solution? Is there a solution? So I want you to grab your phone, type in 833-212-1017. 833-212-1017. Because we're going to have a conversation. Who is the Ahmadiyya Muslim community?
The Ahmadiyya Muslim community is the only community in the world today that is standing for truth, for justice, that believes in a living faith and a living God, who not only spoke in the past, but speaks today. The Ahmadiyya Muslim community is the solution and is the cure. That's what and that's who we are. So my life is dedicated towards giving that cure to humanity. We believe that we are the culmination of all faiths, of all prophecies, culminated in one human being. As you spoke about how we believe in a living caliph. Mm-hmm. We have a representative, a community that's global. So we see in the world today, it's just not working. We see a lack of something, a lack of unity, a lack of peace, a lack of hope. And the statistics and the reality, the people we're talking to right now understand that. Mm. They understand in their homes, in their families, there's dissatisfaction, there's murder, there's contempt, there's suicide, there's substance abuse. Those aren't the traits or the characteristics of a healthy society or of a happy home. So what's missing? And America has tried a lot. We tried quite a bit. But whatever we tried hasn't worked. I mean, how many more generations are we going to lose? How many more little girls are we going to sacrifice in the streets? I mean, that's what we came here to talk about today, right? Mm-hmm. That 9-year-old girl that got shot in the head, unfortunately. Yeah. May God bless her. May God bless her family. How many more girls are we willing to sacrifice until we understand what we have doesn't work? So that's what the Ahmadiyya Muslim community is all about. That's what we're here for. That the pain of the world is our pain. Their suffering is our suffering. And we're here to uplift society together.
So you all just opened up a new facility, a new mosque, Abdul Carter Mosque. What does that space mean for the neighborhood, for the community?
It's a safe space. It's one of the only spaces you have in Milwaukee that doesn't want anything from you, that only wants to give and fill the holes again in society. If that's filling the hole of company, of peace, of guidance, of finding God, of getting an escape from the rat race. Whatever it is, that's what that mosque stands for. We stand for Milwaukee. And we're always going to be here for Milwaukee. You know, if that's providing medical care, if that's providing psychological aid, legal advice, if that's trying to help somebody on their path of God, if that's Islam or not, that's what we're here for. So that mosque will always stand as a beacon of truth, as a beacon of justice, and as a way to help people reach God themselves.
So many members fled Pakistan. Even other members say you're not Muslim. Members of a Muslim community say you're not Muslim.
Right.
What is that? What is it like being a minority within a minority within a minority?
You know, it's familiar. Doesn't that story sound familiar?
Mm.
Didn't Jesus get called a minority? Weren't the followers of Jesus called disbelievers? The followers of Moses, the followers of Abraham, the followers of Noah, all of these men had to migrate because where they were, their people didn't accept them and they didn't accept God. So when you describe an Ahmadi, all you're describing, an Ahmadi Muslim, all you're describing are the prophets of the past and the people of the past. This story sounds very familiar to all the other stories of success we have heard of in the past. So what is it like to be a minority? You can call us a minority in the eyes of the world, but in the eyes of God, it's a story of success, a story of grit, a story of steadfastness. I mean, it's a story of Jesus all over again. It's a story of Muhammad. May the peace and blessings of God be upon him. It's a story of Noah and the ark. All of these stories have the same ending, and you see that congruent with Islam Ahmadiyyat as well. There's a reason it's the fastest growing religion in the world. That's not an accident. And statistics don't lie. You know, numbers don't lie. So there's something magnetic about it. There's something that the world is being attracted to. And hopefully that's something that Milwaukee is able to witness as well.
So Jade Reiser was shot in Milwaukee, Burleigh, and in the Harambe neighborhood. No arrests have been made. You're rooted in that part of town also, but what's the response?
Well, in the Quran it says when you kill one person, it's like as if you killed all of mankind. So we can see that living out in many aspects of our life today. Every time you turn around, all the senseless killings that we see, mankind itself is dying and is looking for an answer, is looking for a solution to be saved. And in the Quran, it also tells us that when you save a person, it's as if you saved all of mankind. So our responsibility here is to try to help save all of mankind and to move people away from that senseless killing, from the senseless violence, and to enable people to be able to have the wherewithal to not to resort to those types of means where things like this can happen.
So when a young girl like that passes, her last words were, and I'm sure you read it, her last words were something to the effect, I think something's wrong. Basically, please save me. And what happens next to her soul? Is her soul going to be saved? Like, is this young girl, because she passes from this senseless violence, she's innocent, right?
Absolutely. We know her soul is going to be saved because she's innocent. You know, she hadn't got to the point where she's being corrupted by society, by the ills of social media and a lot of other things. What they said is that she was trying to tell her sister something was wrong, but nothing was actually coming out when she was speaking. But she knew something was wrong. And she cried, and of course, they came out and got her, and they took her to the hospital, and unfortunately, she didn't survive. But, you know, when I look at that, and someone who works with kids from 3rd grade to 12th grade, you know, it hurt my heart because the first thing I think of is my grandchildren. I have a 9-year-old grandson, and so I looked at her as my granddaughter being lost. That's the first thing that came to my mind. And they still haven't found the individual. And the Holy Quran, Al-Nisa, I know 136, it specifically says those who believe in Allah, be a witness for Allah in against truth, be it against yourself or be against your kindred or against the poor or the rich. Somebody knows what happens. Somebody really honestly needs to come forward. And go ahead.
So let me ask you this question in response to that. We have these senseless violence. We have individuals that, when they perform these acts, it's basically hit and run, boom, and then they go. I had 2 acquaintances that I knew, seen out. They were killed in a hit and run. Both of them were crossing the street. Reasonable time of the day. It's nighttime. They're enjoying themselves out, doing whatever they were supposed to do as young ladies, and they were in a car accident. Not car accident, but it was a hit and run, and they both were taken out of this world. My question is, the people that are connected to this doing the crime, what is going on morally? Because it seems as though it's not just singular incidences. It's becoming more pervasive and more gross. It's almost like an amoeba that individuals are continuing to commit these crimes over and over and over again. I have a question. What are we going to do morally? Because I know there's either we're at this turning point, and the turning point, and everybody sees it. We're either, it's a fork in the road. It's either we're going way high or we're going way low. So when we come back, we're going to address the issue of more.
Check that your kids are in the right seat at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Love protects. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Math as Jay begins class. Science or past is now brought to the rhyme fix. From the scroll straight to the verses. God to gods, from gods to man. Many kings, many leaders, a fist from a hand. They call me militant. Now
welcome back to the Grapevine. We're about to pick some more grapes with the Omde Muslim community. We have our guests back in the building. What I forgot to do is introduce you all, because you're all one community, and I like that. But before we get to introducing you personally, we are hosting a family fest. So I would need y'all to get ready for the one-on-one, the award-winning one-on-one Truth Family Fest is back. It's really, really back. So join us Saturday, August 22nd from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Riverside University High School for free back-to-school resources, live entertainment, family activities, and community fun. Vendors and sponsors can reserve a spot by visiting truthfamilyfest.com, or you can email Sierra.Brown, that's CIERRA .Brown at MilwaukeeBlackMedia.com. And this is proudly sponsored by Educators Credit Union, American Family Insurance, Milwaukee Public Schools, and artists working in education and ascension. Please come out to the Family Fest, the Truth Family Fest. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to get out there and start challenging people to push-ups, especially if it's hot. I want to see if anybody would melt under the pressure. So we are under a moral code naturally. In Milwaukee, in our community, we have kids who are fighting like, I call them fighting like wet noodles at Mayfair. They go and they got pants and tight pants, and they on site. They call it on site, right? They are on Brady Street fighting, shooting in the neighborhoods, taking somebody out, 9-year-old, another 8-year-old here. They hit 2 individuals same night. Somebody gets murdered. What is your community saying about the? What is your community saying about the morality, the decrease in morality, and how can we? And what are you doing to increase and stop the senseless violence in our community?
You know, that's a great question. And I just want to start with this isn't new. Many cities across the world are facing this type of moral degradation, as you said. And everyone's trying to find a solution like this is the first time it's ever happened. It's not new. This isn't the first 9-year-old girl that has died. These aren't the first stray bullets that have flown in a city. And as a matter of fact, the Holy Quran addressed this 1,400 years ago. This very question. When this little girl was crawling up to her big sister and said, something's wrong, that's not the first time this was asked. Those being her last words, something is wrong indeed, but the Holy Quran gave an simile of a girl who was buried when she was 9 months old. And during those times in Arabia, it was such a disgrace to have a girl that many people would bury this girl alive because the disgrace of killing this infant child was less than the disgrace of raising a girl. So the Holy Quran, it went and gave a quote of this girl. What crime did I commit? And why am I being buried? Why am I being murdered and killed? And the Holy Quran said a day will come when this girl will ask that question. So even before Islam, pre-Islam, 2,000-3,000 years ago, these girls were still being killed in their beds. This isn't a new phenomenon. So we don't have to try to find a new answer. What Islam did, it came and changed those animalistic virtues and that degradation and made angels out of dogs. Because these men and women running on the streets, they're a victim themselves.
Mm-hmm.
We are victimized and terrorized.
Mm-hmm.
But those who are committing the crimes are victims also. Because we gave them our best.
Mm-hmm.
They are Milwaukee's finest. That's the reality of the situation.
Right.
So I'm supposed to go and give more. So when this girl asks, what's wrong? Something's not right. You talk to the blessed parents of any of these children, any of these martyrs. The parents will say, oh, we'll do anything to get our child back. We'll do anything to make sure this never happens again. You'll do anything but try Islam. You'll do anything but give God a try. Oh, you'll do anything until it comes time to make a change ourselves. And I remember I was at, public hearing with Hasim Saab?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And these parents, for about 2-3 hours, were talking about how bad this system is and how corrupt it is. And how they want to tell these 14, 15-year-old kids to stop stealing cars and there's another way, try something different. That maybe you can get a job and work for something, you don't have to steal it. And they said these kids just won't hear it. And we try to tell these kids, you don't need to do drugs, you don't need to shoot, but the kids won't listen. And I said, well, the kids are like you guys. I come to the parents and say there's another way. You don't have to live like this. You don't have to have these negative coping mechanisms. You don't have to be lost trying to learn how to raise your kids in today's society. But the parents ain't trying to hear it. The parents don't want to do anything different. And that's why the kids don't either. And that's why the kids are grown up shooting each other. Strangers, friends, brothers, when we should be helping and raising each other. It's not about giving a helping hand. So what does the Omde Muslim community do? I'm not talking in an abstract form. 1,400 years ago, that little girl stopped dying. When the Holy Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of God be upon him, came to Arabia, there was a solution. There was gang banging back then. There was people killing infants back then. There was tribal warfare back then.
Mm-hmm.
There was drug abuse and alcohol abuse back then. There were domestic violence back then. But we saw a society in which all of that was alleviated. And the purpose of prophets is for God to let us know that it's possible. It can happen. Peace is real and tangible. And by following the footsteps of those prophets, that's something that I can have. So when I look out in Milwaukee, we're a predominantly Christian society. I don't see the teachings of Jesus out there. I don't see these gangbangers turning the other cheek. And if they were raised by Christian parents, where are these virtues? Where do these morals go? So again, parents will say, we'll do anything to save our kid. And try it. Give Islam a try. What are you going to lose? Give the teachings of God a try.
Does that mean the people have to accept Islam, or can they just practice the tenets, right? So if I'm a parent and I'm listening to this, and I say to myself, you know what, let me give this a try. Let me fast for Ramadan. Let me, introduce some things, some tenets to my children. What does that do on my day-to-day for my day-to-day life?
Well, when you say, do they really have to adopt it? If someone's dying, as Milwaukee is,
yeah,
these men and women are dying, and someone gives you medicine, are you going to tell me, I really don't want the medicine for the rest of my life? I just want to try it. I don't want to feel that good. I'll just dabble in it. Really, how good are you trying to be? Are you trying to resuscitate this corpse, or are we just playing games here?
Right.
I'm sent here into Milwaukee as an imam to save lives, to raise the quality of life. That's not a game to me. So I'm not going to sugarcoat the fact that for generations, we're just killing ourselves. I mean, my father, grew up on a farm in Ohio where if he drank from a water fountain, kids wouldn't go behind him and drink that either.
Right.
My mother comes from a village in India. When you talk about being a minority, when you talk about the odds are against, I get it. But from people from such marginalized aspects of society, I've seen success. From people who are supposed to fail. I saw it 1,400 years ago, and I see it in 2026.
Mm-hmm.
So fasting for Ramadan would be great, but is that really going to save your kid's life? Fasting for 30 days and 365, that's amazing. But are you raising the spiritual quality of these children so they can deal with society? Are you being an example that they can follow? Do you have coping mechanisms that your kids can adopt? My coping mechanism is praying 5 times a day.
Right.
If a kid follows that, they'll be okay. But as a coping mechanism they see, drinking, alcohol, domestic violence, what do they see? So again, I'll put it in a nutshell. Somebody asked a Sufi one time, and this is for anyone listening.
What's a Sufi?
A Sufi is an Islamic saint, a scholar, a Muslim who's very righteous.
Right.
So someone asked a saint, well, you converted to Islam. I'm thinking about being Muslim. What did Islam give you?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's trying to get sold. Like he's trying to go to the store and get, a Tahoe. Like he's at a car dealership.
Yeah.
And this Sufi, he said, Islam didn't give me anything. So this guy's about to get up and walk away. He said, well, I'm going to go somewhere that gives me something. And then this Sufi, this saint, he said, Islam didn't give me anything. But it took away my grief, and it took away my pain. It took away the anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
It took away the confusion, and it left me with nothing but peace. It removed all the mess so I could finally see God, and I can finally see things clearly. What Islam does is simplify and allow me to live my life the way I'm supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
Then that man sat back down, and he said, well, give me Islam so it can take away all of my pains as well. That's what this medicine can do for you. And if you really want what's best for Milwaukee, what's best for your children, then give it a try.
Welcome back to the Grapevine. We're in the last hour of the Grapevine. We're picking some more grapes on the award-winning Truth Radio 101.7. It is the truth, and we're talking the truth. And do we have solutions for our streets? Do we have solutions in the streets of Milwaukee? I'm talking with the Omde Muslim community. We have 3 members of the Omde Muslim community here in the studio right now. I want you to introduce yourselves, and I would, every time I think about introducing ourselves, I always think about like summer camp. People were like, "Yeah, you go introduce yourselves." You start singing, having a little song, but no, introduce yourself.
My name is El Haj Asim Abdullah Babatu. I joined the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in 2004. Raised as a Christian and left Christianity in 1979 when I graduated high school and found my way to mainstream Islam. and joined the Navy, traveled the world, did a lot of things, worked for AT&T 33 years, retired. But when I prayed, I'd ask Allah to guide me to a mosque among righteous and pious individuals. I seen this show called Islam Live, which was hosted by your father, El Hajj, Dr. Muhammad Sabir, and my brother, our president, Rizwan Ahmed, his grandfather, El Hajj Rashid Ahmed. May Allah elevate both of their status in paradise. But they brought me into Ahmadiyyat, and it was the best thing I did. And I always tell people, it was like walking down the street and seeing a broken glass and something sparkled, and I walked over there and I found a diamond. That's what I look at when I said finding Ahmadiyyat.
Appreciate it. Yes, sir.
My name is Rizwan Ahmed. I'm a born Omde Muslim right here in Milwaukee my whole life. Spent my whole life here in Milwaukee. Grew up with you, so you and I go way back. But I currently serve as the president of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community here in Milwaukee.
Yes, sir.
My name is Muzammil Jalal. I'm a minister of faith. I'm the regional imam here for the Wisconsin area.
So when we talk about the degradation, the moral degradation in Milwaukee, specifically we're talking about Milwaukee. We talk about the world too and wherever else, but I think we're talking about Milwaukee in particular. There's a gentleman sitting at home, and he is not caught. He is not caught. He is at home. He just is sitting, almost rotting, waiting for something to happen, or nothing, or maybe he's trying to get away with something. In his mind, he just ran two wonderful young ladies over. Two of them. And then you have another gentleman who shot a 9-year-old. What is going through their mind, and what is God doing?
What is going through their mind, and what is God doing? I can't speak on their behalf. But what I can say is when people who have sinned are ready for repentance, we're here. When people who have wronged are ready for a better life, we're here. God doesn't turn his back on people, and neither do we. Justice must be met out. But that doesn't mean we have to turn our back on those who have wronged themselves or wronged others. God is the most forgiving and the most merciful. We must be also. So when somebody wants to better themselves, I'm here. I'm all for it. But again, justice must be met on a global scale. And as Muslims, we believe that we not only see justice in this world and in the hereafter. That's what consoles our hearts. Because you said what happens to that 9-year-old girl. She gets her justice. In this world, if everything ends here, all I know is loss. All she had was suffering. But we believe in a world where there will be accountability in the hereafter. So I know those whose lives have been cut short in this world, be it in Milwaukee, be it in Malaysia, be it in Syria, be it in Syracuse, New York. Wherever it is, justice is waiting for them in this world and the hereafter. What we're concerned about is what we're held accountable for. To make sure that I'm never the one that wronged somebody, and no one in my community is. That's what we're here for, and that's what we're all about. So those individuals that wrong themselves, making sure that that doesn't continue to the next generation. So we have to break the pattern. Because generation after generation, we keep seeing these unnecessary deaths take place. This unnecessary violence that's very internalized in our community. So what we're all about is making sure that we're not going to have another generation of children that grow up to hate themselves and hate each other.
Fatherlessness, motherlessness. What is the solution to that? Like, because that is a part. I mean, you all are family people. You look very responsible. Some people are growing up without mothers, without fathers, specifically here in Milwaukee. They are tragically either being taken away by the system, or they're choosing they're choosing a different path to not be in their child's life. How do we adjust? How do we make the adjustment to where we can bring the fathers, specifically we're talking about fathers, back into the family?
First of all, there's an African proverb, and it says, talks about, we're talking about it takes a village to raise a child, and it says a village should show a child love, because if you don't, he will burn that village down to feel its warmth. So in order to get fathers, because a lot of these guys out here, they never had their father around, so they don't know how to be a parent. So we need to educate some parents on parenting. It needs to be done. Somebody close to them needs to pull their coattail and say, hey, this is what it is to be a father. I talk to a lot of young men, and I tell them, even if you're not with that woman, be in your child's life. You got to be the one to break the cycle, because your father wasn't there for you. You got to remember, you know what? I don't want my child feeling the pain that I felt of not having a father, going somewhere and seeing another kid with their father, but yet you're fatherless. Those are some very, very important things. And unfortunately, those who don't know anything about parenting, they're going to continue that cycle. It just continues, but somebody has to be able to break that cycle. But that is where we come in. The Omde Muslim community, we have to educate them, to talk to them about what the responsibilities of a father is. The father is the protector of the household. He mows everything. Everything starts with the father, because he's that provider. And if you see the strength and the pillars and the things that he does in carrying the family, then that boy, he knows, okay, this is what it takes to be a father. So when you don't have a father, maybe there's an uncle. There's somebody else in the community that can become that role model. And this is one of the things I do. When I get kids in my life, I tell them the first thing I say, I'm your papa now. You can call me Papa Babatu, you can call me Mr. Babatu, but right now I am your papa. And I treat them that way. And when they start seeing that somebody cares, then they start seeing what fatherhood is like, or what grandparenthood is like. And this is what it's going to take. It's going to take that and more, because then I need somebody when I'm not around, hey, show that kid that same love. Show him that respect. I had a guy, we were in Camp Rise one year, and one of the guys, he was 70-plus years old. He had the little 10-year-old boy crying. When I asked him what happened, he told me what happened. I made that guy go apologize to him. I said, you want that kid's respect, but yet you don't want to respect him. So we got to show these kids respect. We got to listen. That's the biggest thing. Kids are out here screaming and hollering for, I need help. But a lot of us, we turn the other way. We turn the other cheek. But we have to listen. Let me sit down and listen. Okay, now I understand what he's going through. I see why he acts this way, why he doesn't respond to certain things, and certain things he does respond to, because he's saying, I need help. But yet, if I'm not the one that can help him, I should know somebody who can get him some help. And I guide him in that direction. And I always feel it's very, very important not to only establish that relationship with that kid, but with his parents, and tell them, hey, this is what your kid is lacking. This is what your kid needs. And again, I've earned the trust of those kids. They give me their parents' phone number. I've called mothers and fathers, and I tell them, I said, don't get upset with your kid, but this is what's going on. This is what they want.
So when they leave your presence, and they go back to the house, and they see domestic violence sometimes. They see outside at the corner store, they see their friends going in and buying Lucy's, and they go and they see at night it's not fireworks anymore. It's gunshots now. The transition went from gunshots to fireworks, now back to gunshots again. When you have that child in your grasp, when they go back home, they have to go back home ultimately to mom. What are the women? What is the responsibility of the women in the home? What and how deep does that go? are they held more responsible than the men?
Well, Manon, I'll tell you what, because there's a lot of people out there who don't have parents. There's a lot of people who do. And if you don't have parents, that doesn't mean you're at a loss. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of orphans in Milwaukee. There's a lot of kids with parents in Milwaukee who are still orphans, whose parents leave them to raise themselves. But you know who else was an orphan? The Prophet Muhammad. May the peace and blessings of God be upon him. He didn't have a mother and he didn't have a father. Mm-hmm. And that's for us to see. Deprived of the support of the world, if you have God and if you have guidance, you can still thrive and you can still be okay. So this is a message to everybody. Without a mother, a father, if you're a child or if you're an adult, you can still be okay. Because our message and our teaching is that if you have God, you have everything. And God will provide everything you need. All guidance can come through him. Now, if somebody's comfort in childhood is given through the provisions of parents, that's amazing. But just because someone doesn't have an attentive or caring mother or father does not mean God will not provide for them. You can still be taken care of. You can still be loved. You can still have a roadmap. I mean, to level with you, you go to IKEA, you got instructions on how to make a table.
Right.
I mean, if there's a reason we have mechanics. Mm-hmm. You're not going to go change your own transmission in your alternator. Maybe you need a YouTube video, but no one's going to walk up to a Hyundai and just swap out that transmission and be good to go.
Right.
I have to know how to work on that.
And especially on a 100-degree day.
100%. So now if I need instructions, if I need guidance on how to repair a car, how do I expect to just improv this thing called life? Mm-hmm. That's far more complex than an automobile.
Right.
So to answer your question about mothers, well, let's take a step back. You said, what's the responsibility of mothers? Well, in Islam, what's our responsibility to mothers? In Islam, it's said that paradise is under the feet of your mothers. Now, what does that mean? I mean, you can look at your mom's foot. You're not
does that mean that dads don't get to paradise
after the third time? That's what the Prophet said. Your mother is prioritized 3 times than your father. Now, what that means is there's nothing under your mother's feet. Mm-hmm. But what is there under the pursuit of pleasing and serving your mother is God's pleasure. So if I dedicate my life to pleasing my mother, the woman who brought me into this world, if I take care of her, respect her, and listen to her, I'm on the path that pleases God.
Hey, we got a saying in the community, in the black community. Hey, moms say, if I brought you in this world, I'll take you out. Listen, but I think it's like all cultural communities. Hey, y'all, we're going to come right back with the Omde Muslim community. We're going to talk about the women. And why is there some type of separation? Do everybody have to cover their face? All right. We'll be back in 2.
And here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise, and that could be fatal.
Cars get hot fast and can be deadly.
Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
La 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 la.
Hey, y'all. Welcome back to the Grapevine. We're about to pick some more grapes to the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. And we're going to get right to it. So we have the women. Women is, we got... I had a show. And on my show, I was describing the viciousness of the women in society, and it's in Milwaukee in particular. There was an incident at Summerfest, and there was a few incidents at another fest where the guys weren't fisticuffing anymore. It was the women. It was multiple fights of women, and even it got to the point to where a woman beat up a guy. I mean, he probably did so. And she had some good hands. I'm just saying that it's shifted to where the women were fighting so much, have been fighting so much, that now the men are videotaping and being the voyeurs of the women fighting. So how do we and it's becoming really, really vicious to where the women are now like they're going at each other and they're saying words like, I'm going to kill you on sight. I'm going to hurt you on sight. And then I see you guys, I see the women in, the mosque, they're covering their heads. They go separate ways from the men. How does that system help solve the women that are fighting in our streets? This is daily though. It's almost like a pack of wolves, right? It's almost like a pack of wolves where women will. I've seen a video. These 4 girls. They were girls, and they just ganged up on an older lady. Had to been 45, 50 years old. Not doing the best, but they were just dragging her, and they whooped her right here in Milwaukee, down the street. What can we do as a society to adopt those ways where we can become peaceful like those ladies that we see at your space?
Well, there's hope. It's not the first time that disbelievers have become believers, that people with animalistic tendencies or people who were inclined towards violence or who didn't know better adopted moral virtue or the high ground. That's what religion and faith is all about. So just like I have faith in God, I have faith in society that they can be upright. But, when we talk about Muslim women, is it really that crazy? I know people have this big commotion about Muslim women. Is it really that crazy? Christians see Muslim women all the time. Every time a Christian goes to the church, you see a Muslim woman, the Virgin Mary, sitting up there in a picture with her head covered. You see her every day you go to a church, next to Jesus on the cross. So the only difference is when a Christian sees a girl with her head covered, it's going to be the Virgin Mary. Every Muslim woman is going to idolize that and use that as her example. Is it really that crazy? And now, Christians aren't that foreign to covering themselves either, a nun. The highest form of sacrifice, the highest form of spirituality, the highest form of dedication in the Christian faith is being a nun for a woman. That's the bottom line for every Muslim woman. Literally, the bottom line, the beginning of faith for any Muslim woman is the height of covering yourself for a Christian woman.
But now women are taking off their clothes.
Yeah, that's not the only thing they're taking off. Their dignity, their common sense, their respect, their responsibilities, the motherhood, the maternal instinct, the self-respect. Once you lose the value of what a woman is, she can make or break a home.
Mm-hmm.
Once you lose that, that explains why our children are running rampant and killing each other. A father cannot do what a mother can.
Speaking to the mic.
A father cannot do what a mother can.
Mm-hmm.
So once we begin to lose our mothers, we've already lost the kids. Before we got off the air, we were talking about, that IKEA instruction map on how I need to build this table or how I need to build a transmission and whatnot. Mm-hmm. We rely on instructions for everything. Even getting here, I would need GPS if I didn't come with Rizwan. I need a guide map. I need something. How are you going to raise a child or be a wife or be a mother with just improv that? Mm-hmm. So these women are taking off their clothes. They're taking away their senses. In reality, they're taking away any hope they have of success in search for freedom. When in reality, they're replacing those clothes with those chains of society. You're going to look on the streets, beating yourselves, dragging each other with your hair on the streets. Is that freedom? Getting an abortion every other weekend, is that freedom? Substance abuse, is that freedom? Drug abuse, getting tattoos, having 5 different kids from 5 different men, is that freedom? If that's freedom, then I don't want it. I don't want that for anyone. If I had a daughter, I'd want her locked up if that's what freedom is.
Mm-hmm.
So if wearing that scarf can protect me, if going that separate way in a mosque can save me, if trying to be like Virgin Mary is what gives me grace and protects my children and my household and stops me from being, attacked like a dog on the street, then I'll take it.
We have churches on every corner. A lot of churches, especially in Milwaukee. This is the part of the Bible Belt. This is the end of the road of the Bible Belt. Should women start going back into the church, back into the mosque? What are they supposed to do?
Well, I'll tell you what.
Because, you go into the church and there's some salvation there. I'm sure people have, went back to the church or back into the mosque and they've saved themselves.
No, indeed. Now, we need to preface this and give context. As Muslims, we believe in all prophets, all monotheistic prophets.
Right.
Noah, Abraham, Jesus, Noah. So if anybody is truly following the teachings of these prophets, they will be able to navigate through life to a decent degree.
Mm-hmm.
But to truly thrive and succeed, you need the latest, the most advanced teachings, which would only be found in Islam. But if anybody sincerely goes and prays to God, we don't believe that we have a monopoly on faith or salvation. So if anybody prays to God, they can be guided. And that's the one thing about Muslims that I always loved, about Ahmadis especially. I was talking to a Christian lady the other day, and she says, you do so much good for society. You guys feed the poor. You take care of your people. She said, it's such a shame that you're going to burn in hell. And I'm like, I was like, I'm feeding your neighbors. I'm taking care of your kids. I'm doing all of this, but I'm going to burn in hell because I don't accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, only as a prophet. I accept his mother, I accept his people, his teachings, and I'm going to burn in hell for eternity. So that's one reason why my great aunt accepted Islam. She lived with us for years. We never pressed Islam onto her. She grew up, East Coast, church, playing the piano, taught us all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, I can't believe in Jesus anymore. She said, how can I believe in Jesus as a God if that God is going to send people like you to hell? When my family that does believe in Jesus turned their back on me. But the people who accept him as a prophet, you took me and you take care of me. How can I worship a God that's going to punish you? And just on account of that, she accepted Islam. So in Islam, we believe that anyone, an atheist, a Jew, a Christian, anyone can go to paradise. Now, the reason this is important to mention is because it unifies us. Now, if I'm a
Let's
Christian
talk about that.
Thinking everyone else is going to burn in hell, how am I really going to be your well-wisher? You're going to hell. God doesn't love you. Why should I?
Mm-hmm.
But in Islam, my paradise, my salvation is contingent upon your success. If you're an atheist, I have to make sure you're well-fed, well-dressed. It doesn't matter who or what you believe in. I'm held accountable for caring for you. But now if I'm a Jew, if I'm a Christian, you're going to burn in hell. Forget you, I'm going to take care of my own.
Mm-hmm.
As a Muslim, I can't do that. As a Muslim, it's a Quranic injunction that if a synagogue, a temple, if a church is on fire, I have to go and save that building because that building stands for God, and so do I.
So our women need to keep their clothes on. When we come back, we're going to talk about keeping our clothes on, and also, did Jesus really die on the cross? Man, we're gonna talk about this bombshell in a minute when we come back.
At Milwaukee College Prep, we believe brilliance lives in every child. Here, students are challenged, supported, and celebrated every single day. With small class sizes, dedicated teachers, and a proven track record of academic excellence, MCP is helping Milwaukee kids reach their fullest potential.
Line up in your building, in the window of the building, $500 for somebody that can prove that Jesus did die on the cross. And people would come in and nobody won. Am I right?
Yeah, it was almost every week somebody coming through with their Bible in hand. I remember I was a little kid at the time when our mosque was over on North in Lisbon, right where they met. But people used to come in all the time with the sign that we had, and that offer still stands. But we just took the sign down because you want to build more unity amongst people and sow the divisions, and that was something that kind of was more controversial. But the sign said $500 reward for anybody that could prove from the Bible that Jesus died on the cross.
So tell me, this is gonna be this is gonna be good. I'm almost closing my eyes because I can just see somebody calling. And yes, we're gonna take some calls, definitely. 833-212-1017. We can go to the end of the earth with this one. Thanks, Zach. I know who's calling. Give me the basis of Jesus not dying on the cross. Like, Jesus didn't die on the cross. What does that do for the humanity if he didn't?
Man, you're not pulling any punches.
Nah. We're going Ali today.
Rope-a-dope.
Yeah.
So, did Jesus die on the cross? No, we don't believe so. In essence.
Now, listen.
No, we're not trying. I want to say this very respectfully. We're not
Yeah.
out here trying to hurt any feelings. I'm not here trying to put anyone's God down. I'm just saying our truth.
Right.
And I say that with the most, highest form of respect to everyone who's listening. We don't believe that Jesus died on the cross. We don't believe in the divinity of a human being. We believe that Jesus was sent as a prophet, succeeded as a prophet, and lived and died as a man, just like every prophet before him and every prophet after him.
Mm-hmm.
We don't believe there was any divinity to his spirit per se as, Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. And we don't believe in failure. Jesus was sent for the tribes of Israel. If I'm to believe the story that was given to me, not the story that I researched myself, but the story that was whipped into the millions of slaves that came here, the story that was beaten and raped into us, if that's what I'm picking up on and that's what we're talking about, because your parents didn't accept Christianity. Hasim Saab's parents didn't accept Christianity. Rashid Saab didn't accept Christianity. Rizwan's grandfather. That was inherited. And if I'm inheriting something through hell and through coal and through a whip, I'm going to question it a bit before I keep giving it to my kids. Before I keep being fed and giving that poison, I'm going to look back a bit.
So this you talking about our transatlantic slave trade. Okay.
So the easiest way to be subservient to a master is to believe that a white man was your God. That's the easiest way to be okay with getting whipped. To believe that, okay, that's what my God looks like. That's who and what I'm supposed to look like. And why would God shape and form a religion in this manner?
That's Donald Trump. Donald Trump wants
100%.
to look like God.
100%. So how am I going to, deteriorate and degrade the face of my God to a person? And the silliest arguments, is he black? Is he white? Does he have blue eyes? Does he have blonde hair? How am I going to confine my God to those mortal characteristics? So now we got a Jesus baby that was in the womb for 9 months. Now he's God. So was God sitting in the womb for 9 months? Then he was born. Did he pretend like he didn't know English for the first year of his life? It was goo goo gaga, even though he knew English? Or did he pop out the womb talking, speaking English? Or what, Aramaic, or whatever it was at the time? You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, what is it? So did God just play dumb for years, pretend to learn how to walk? And then all of a sudden, one day, he was like, well, now I think I should know how to walk. Because if it was a miraculous child that came out talking, walking, I wouldn't have to question that that's God. But there's no historical account, so how much do I have to dumb myself down to believe all of this? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. And again, we don't believe in failure. So when Jesus was sent to unite the tribes of Israel, he didn't.
So no prophet has failed.
No prophet has failed. Every prophet succeeds in his teachings. And then you're going to go back to the one true sin, that God created us of sin and he had to sacrifice. We don't believe in that salvation either. We believe in salvation based off our deeds, based off our merit. So, this is a huge conversation, but if my salvation is based off drenching myself in the blood of Christ, that doesn't make me feed my neighbor. That doesn't make me a better human being, a better mother, a better father, inherently, because my sins are forgiven. I'm good, you go get your own. But as a Muslim, I'm not good unless my neighbor's good too. So my entire life is vying with one another in good works, fastabiqul khairat, as we call it, to make sure that everyone else is fed, everyone else is taken care of. Because the second I slip, I can lose my place in paradise. But as a Christian, I have this, facade of salvation where if I accept Jesus, I'm okay. They can starve. They can get bombed in Gaza. They can get wrecked on the slave ships. They can be slaves, and I'm okay. As a Muslim, my heart bleeds as the rest of the world does. And I can't sleep until the world's okay. So if everyone in the world saw their salvation like that, it would be a very different place. If the men who shot that 9-year-old girl saw the world like this, it would be a very different place. But they accepted Jesus Christ. So I'll see them in paradise, right? Or is it something different? Is it different? Because they killed a 9-year-old girl, are their sins not forgiven? So as a Muslim, it's something completely different. It's something that actually makes sense. So did Jesus die on the cross? No, he was sent. He was punished on the cross because he was a disbeliever, just like Ahmadis and Muslims are punished around the world. He was taken off the cross, and then he continued to travel towards what we now consider India to unite the tribes of Israel.
India.
Am I saying this out of nothing? No. We got historical records.
He went to, hold on.
Well, where were the tribes of Israel? Where were the tribes of Judea? They were not where they say Jesus was crucified. And we have historical records. And for anyone who's listening, don't ask ChatGPT. Don't Google it. Come to the mosque and ask me. If someone got an issue, if someone wants to know more, come and ask me. That's why I'm here. If someone's brave enough to disagree, then come and ask me.
That $500 still on the table?
Rizwan Sab, you got it, right?
I got it.
They got the five. Hey, listen.
He upped it to $1,000, by the way.
It's $1,000. It's $1,000. Hey, y'all. 833-212-1017. I got a G. I got a stack. I got a thousand on the table right now for anybody that can prove that Jesus died on the cross. I mean, you know.
Let me just add this.
Yeah, add it.
It comes from the Bible. You know, it was Matthew 12, verses 39 and 40. It said, a wicked and adulterous society asks, what shall be the sign of the Christ? He said, there will be no sign but that of Jonah the whale. As Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the fish, so should be the Son of Man in the body of the earth. Now we look at that. Jonah went in there alive. He was in there alive. He came out alive. Now they saying that Jesus Christ went in the body of the earth dead, and he was in there dead, and he came out resurrected. So there is no comparison. So it's not a story of revival. It's a story of survival. Jesus survived the crucifixion on the cross, and it's right there in the Bible, you know, and people need to just read and understand that.
So Jesus is, you know, according to this theory right here, Jesus is dead. He's in the grave in India. But what does this do to the comfort of people here that are now living amongst all these crosses on churches and stuff like that? Does it, you know, does it disunify us or does it unify?
No, I feel great. If I was waiting for a God that vanished and abandoned the tribes of Israel thousands of years ago, and I've been waiting on him for the past few centuries, and all of a sudden I know that he succeeded, he's dead and buried, and God is still with us, and I'm no longer waiting for this man to float down from the sky, I would be relieved. Because when is he coming and where is he? We needed Jesus now. That 9-year-old girl needed Jesus when she got shot. Those men behind the wheel who ran over those 2 girls needed Jesus on the road. Every junkie on the street that's overdosing, every mother that's abandoning her kids, every father that's rotting in prison, because he didn't know, but they all needed Jesus. So are you just telling me there's a hiatus where God didn't care about us anymore? And he just said, well, screw them, you know, they'll be okay, but the rest of, 2050 and on, they'll have Jesus. Everyone else, they just got to suffer. Is this the paradise in this world and the hereafter that I was supposed to inherit? Is this really what's happening? Is that, I would be relieved if someone told me that's not the case anymore. That I wasn't abandoned, that I'm not lost, that I'm not just floating in the ether waiting for a prophet who might be a God, who is the Father, who is the Son, to come back and give me a better life, that none of my parents or grandparents or great-grandparents benefited from. If I realized that there actually was hope, there actually was a better way, I would take the biggest sigh of relief. Because this Jesus, with all respect that everyone's been waiting for, has not been the cure for the ailment that we see in Milwaukee.
Woo! That 1,000. Hey, we're gonna take some callers on the way in from our break. We're gonna take some callers. 833-212-1017. Callers, if you are on the line, please stay on the line. We're going to take a break for 2 minutes, and we'll be right back with this $1,000, see if somebody can prove it wrong. All right.
Reading aloud.
Welcome back to The Grapevine. I'm your host, Manon Sabir, the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Al, we have Al on the line. Al, what's going on, Al?
Well, my thing is when all religions want women to be obedient, let the truth be told, because when women are obedient, you can walk over them. And if I'm not mistaken, there was a lot of Muslims who voted for Donald Trump, and there's a lot of Muslims who step out on their women as well. So no religion is greater than the other. But what I find to be so funny, when they say, oh, she got 4, 5 baby daddies, I don't hear y'all talking about the men. Y'all give them all kind of bypasses. And I ain't never stopped no man from any religion of climbing in bed with her if she had 4, 5 kids. So my thing is, what's greater? And Virgin Mary, wasn't she 12, 14 years old where she got married, which means he will be on the sex offender list? So I look at it like this. No religion is better or greater than the other. All of them want women to bow down. Y'all don't want no woman to match your own energy, because if she shut up and just be a toilet for you, you can laugh and do what you want. Because you remember back in the 70s and 80s, Muslims was marrying white women and naming them Queen Orchidor. So I'm just saying, if you're going to push a narrative. Everybody deserves respect, and no matter what religion is, nobody sugar honey iced tea smell greater than anybody else.
Thanks,
Because
Al.
we all put a pants leg on one leg at a time.
You right, Al. Thank you. And Al, I think you're right. You got a point in some ways. Everybody puts their pants on one leg at a time, and everybody deserves respect.
Don't do it. It won't get done.
You know, may I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, first off, I want to say, Al, it's great to meet you, great to speak with you, and thank you for calling in. You know, I really appreciate your feedback. I want to begin by apologizing for whatever life experiences gave you such a negative outlook on faith in Islam. You know, those weren't our type of Muslims. Whoever you met that gave you such a foul taste in your mouth for the way we treat our women or the negative perception that you have, on their behalf, I apologize, because you weren't given a true perception of Islam. You were given some bigoted, misconstrued version of something someone called Islam, be it they practicing their own inclinations or culture. But Al, what you were introduced to was not the faith of Islam. You were introduced to a man or woman's own inclinations. In Islam, no woman or man is obedient to any other human being. In Islam, we only show obedience to God. And in society where America or the West or Germany or Italy is trying to strip away the rights that God has given to men and women, it's Islam that stands in that stead to give us the rights that God has trusted to us. For example, who's there saying women have the right to divorce? Who's out there saying that women have the right to inheritance? Who's out there saying that women have the right to be independent? It's not America 100 years ago. It wasn't America 200 years ago. There's many countries in the world I go to, Al, where these women don't have rights. But you give them a holy Quran, and guess what? They can stand up for themselves.
So the women in Islam, they got their own thing going on.
100% independent of men. From God himself. And that's something that no man can interfere with. That's what Islam is all about. And that's what Islam stands for. To remove the tyranny of oppression. Be it from men, women, children, the government, politics, race, culture. Islam is about removing oppression, liberating yourself from tyranny, and thriving, finding subservience and freedom in God alone.
So y'all can marry more than one woman?
Can we? I mean, I live in America. I'm not here to say what man can and cannot do. You know, as a Muslim, and people think, oh, you know, you can answer X, Y, and Z. As a Muslim, something people don't know. Sharia law, this thing that we keep hearing, really doesn't exist. That's not a thing. What that is, it's, you know, media, X, Y, and Z. As a Muslim, Quranically, what does the Holy Quran say? I have to follow the law of the land. So if the law of the land says you can only marry one woman, if the law of the land says I can't go more than 90 miles an hour, if the law of the land says I have to pay my mortgage as a Muslim, that's what I got to do. And if the law of the land says I cannot usurp the rights of others, then I won't. As a Muslim, I am a patriot to the highest degree. And much of my family has served in the armed forces and law enforcement. We've died and bled for this flag like everyone else. So I'm not going to tolerate someone else trampling the rights of women that my family has died and bled for, or that my prophet sacrificed his life for. We're not here to abuse or usurp the rights of women or orphan or men or the poor or the refugees or the widows. What we're here to do is to stand up for them, because nobody else will. There will be phases in history where rights rise and fall. But a Muslim, the Holy Quran, and Islam will always stand for justice independently. And I'm glad that people like Al feel comfortable enough to express themselves, and we can get things like that right and straightened out.
So back to your subject real quick, because we run out of time. Back to the subject of this $1,000 if people can prove that Jesus did die on the cross. If they can't, and the theory is not proven, then and the crosses start decreasing in the churches, right? Then what?
I mean, we have a church, a 30-second walk away from the mosque that closed down. It's up for sale.
Yep.
I mean, that's not strange in America. The churches are closing, but the alcohol, tobacco, vape shops are opening. That's not the trajectory that we want America to go in. The reality of the situation is we can argue, we can talk, we can converse, but before someone comes here talking to us about Jesus, God, have you tried talking to God? Before you come talking to me. You know, I was talking to a first responder the other day, and he was breaking down CPR to us. And he said, would you ever break the ribs of an old lady? And everyone kind of jumps. What are you talking about, man? And he said, well, when I do CPR, when someone's dying on the floor, to properly administer CPR, we understand that the ribs of that individual just might break. And that's how serious we take saving a life. Many times people who have cancer, they undergo radiation. Everyone knows radiation will be negative to your well-being and health, but it can defeat the cancer. And people are willing to undergo that treatment to cure that disease. Is America willing to try Islam? I'll try chemotherapy, I'll try everything for these physical ailments. But when it comes to a spiritual disease, are we going to try this cure?
So the war, there's a war going on. Real quick, is there a solution for the war?
Which war? The spiritual war, the political war?
The oil war, the one that's going on, between America and the Middle East.
When humanity stops worshiping different gods, when humanity stops worshiping themselves, their ego, their pride, their money, their fortune, and begins to worship one God and serves him, the only war we'll have is against Satan and not against one another. The solution has been seen in history, and within our world and our circles and in our global community, we see that solution every single day because we don't suffer from those ailments. But again, as the world bleeds, we bleed. As the parents of that 9-year-old daughter mourn, we mourn too. As the victims of that hit and run mourn, we do too. So until the world is at rest and at peace, we won't be. And we'll be on the streets in society, in Milwaukee, in Compton, in Las Vegas, in Miami, with everybody fighting for their rights, fighting for the belief in the oneness of God, fighting for the independence and the sustenance of our rights and liberties, as long as Islam is here on earth.
A lot of times, I went to, we're running out of time. We'll bring you guys back. But I had a story real quick. I was working out in the gym, and I asked the pastor that I used to work out with whether or not if he would join me in talking to individuals that will be talking to individuals on the street that are committing violence at night. And he said to me that it would be very, very dangerous to do that. And it really turned me off. And I want to know, do you guys put your lives on the line too?
He didn't know you were a 5th-degree black belt, did he?
Nah, he didn't know that. No, he didn't know that. We have a call, man. We had a caller on the line, but I think that we're going to kind of bring you guys back. We're going to talk about these $1,000, whether or not somebody has actually won it. Where can people find you?
Well,
so our mosque is over on 104th in Oklahoma.
Speaking to the mic.
The mosque is over on 104th in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
If you want more information on the Omde Muslim community, the website's alislam.org, alislam.org, and we're available for dialogue anytime.
Hey, if you guys want that $1,000, if you can prove it, you better come check them out. alislam.org, Omde Muslim community, Milwaukee. There it is. Milwaukee. There it is. This is the solution. We have a bunch of them. Is there a solution? Two sheriffs said it starts with our young people. This community said it starts with the soul, feeding people, giving blood, opening doors, love for all, hatred for none. It's not a slogan. It's a challenge to me, to you, to everybody. This is their solutions. We got Jazz Tyler coming up next. We bringing the peace with her only on 101.7, the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. We out, y'all. Peace.